Research scarcity is a general thing, sir.
But we thank God that.
Yeah, it shall be well. Very, very, very soon, everything will calm down. Hello for Kobale. Everything will be okay.
Amen.
All right, sir.
Yeah, and a time like this is a time for social workers to thrive, to be more productive in the service, in our service to humanity, because many people will be passing through psychosocial challenges that we need to put forward our interventions. So these are moments for social work to advocate and then to ensure that there are policy shifts and to also plug people to available services that the federal government, state governments, local governments, and other agencies are providing. There's a lot in Nigeria going on that many people are ignorant about, and it's our duty as social workers to sensitize, to inform, to educate, and to ensure that people get to know more about what is presently on within the nation for their own advantage, and to key into issues that may be that may seemingly be difficult or hard in this crisis or stressful period. We just need to up our games and be able to provide needed services to those who come across our way or those who come to our agencies, so that their eyes also may be open to also receive some other services. Thank you very much. So I want to believe that we have had quite a beautiful time together in this module, professional ethics and accountability. And I want to believe that each one of us have been also making contributions in the class. We know that the issue of professional ethics is an ongoing thing. It's something that is not just what you learn in class, in workshop and seminars, and you get to understand everything at a goal. The more you practice, the more you come to understand what professional ethics and accountabilities are. And the more you strive to ensure that you conform to what your profession demands and what your profession entails, the more you know more about what ethics are. And I know that in our bid to provide services to our clients or service users, we will make some mistakes, we will correct it, others will correct us, our seniors will correct us, our agencies will also fall in line, and then we also will begin to learn and then also mentor others. That is the goal of this course. It is not a course that you get to know it once and for all. You have gone to school, you have learned more, some form of it. Yes, some of us have been practicing, and now for licensing, we are bringing it back because it is very, very crucial for our profession. For any profession to be called a well-meaning profession all over the world, the issue of ethics and accountability can never be underrated or underplayed. It is like the backbone of every profession. Based on that, you get promoted. Based on that, you get demoted. Based on that, you go to court. Based on that, you get litigation. Based on that, you flourish. Based on that. So it is very, very important. And I know that we have said so much, we have learned so much from what social worker in Bina has taken us from the beginning of the course up till now. Sorry, social worker in Bina may not be available today. He traveled and is on the way now. He's on his way back to his station. That's why I'm also stepping in to ensure we continue this course. Okay, let me just relax and hear from my lecturers who are here on the platform.
Yeah. I'll call you later.
Please, can you mute your mic? If you are not talking, please mute your mic. So, please, if you are not talking, just always watch your mic and ensure that you mute when you are not talking to us in the class and unmute when you are asked to speak. Just let your eyes always be on the left-hand side of your phone. That is where your mic is. Make sure when you are not talking, there's a red line crossing that mic. When the red line is crossing the mic, it means you have muted your mic. Whatever you are saying or anybody is saying in your environment would not filter into the class. And when you want to talk, press it again to ensure that that red line on the mic is off. Then you will be able to speak to us. Please always let's be mindful of our mic. It's very important, not only for this class, it's part of what we teach in social work communication. It's part of social work communication, the use of our phones is part of it. So as social workers, we must be masters in the act of communication and the use of social work gadgets. Our phone is one of our gadgets for social work. So we must be able to, at least to a reasonable extent, master it and ensure that we don't interfere with others while we are on course of any program. Okunwoye Bolale, thank you very much. You have muted. Glory Crown, please mute. Check as I spoke about that. Okay, thank you very much, Glory Crown. That's great. Thank you. Okay, I want to listen to my lecturers who are here. I have about 20 of my lecturers in class today, so I am the only student now. So I want to be taught on what you have learned so far on professional ethics and accountability. We have not actually exhausted what we have, but I'm very sure we have been able to cover about 70% of what we are supposed to be discussing in this module. So please, I'm the only candidate here now. I have about 20 facilitators there in the house. So one after the other, you will pick one aspect of what has been taught and then just briefly tell us what you have taken to your heart, what you have now gotten to understand, and what issues that have been raised and then within the class and was explained and is now clear to you. I hope we understand what I'm saying. This is a form of revision for us and a time to also be able to come to terms with what has been taught already. And we want to hear feedback from you. That's why I said this moment, for about 15, 20 minutes, you are the lecturers in class. You are the researchers. You are the intelligent people in class. I don't know social work as I stand here like this, as I sit like this. So you will teach me what I need to know about professional ethics and accountability. So one after the other, you unmute, or according to how the names are arranged on my participant list, I will just call each person to speak for 1 or 2 minutes, especially what you have taken home from all that have been said during the course of this module. Like I said, we have covered about 70%. We just need about 20-30% to be done. Between today and next class, thereabout, we may end this module. So let's galvanize and let's reason together to know what has been taught and what you have taken to heart. Thank you very much. I think Noye Amalinze, your hands are up, please. You can speak up, please. Noye, please, you have the floor. I saw your hand up.
Okay, good morning, Doc. Good morning, class.
Good morning,
ma'am. Well, let me start with defining the term professional ethics and accountability. I learned that professional ethics and accountability are a set of ethical codes and standards that guides a profession. They are expected behaviors of professionals to adhere to. It guides their practice. Or you can also say they are ethical norms, values, and principles that guides a profession. Or also you can define it in different ways, a set of rules and principles designed to encourage ethical conduct among a group of professionals. They are also adopted by professionals in an organization to assist members in understanding the differences between right and wrong in their professional practice. And there are components of ethics. There are components of ethics like impartiality, accountability, social justice, equity, transparency, the principle of respectfulness, and so on.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you very much for that beautiful beginning. You've done well. So what's your take home from all you have said, please? Can we know in 1 minute, in one statement?
Okay, I learned, my take home is that professional ethics and accountability are like, it guides the social worker. For example, in our own profession, it guides the social worker on the areas on which they are strong in their ethical conduct.
Sorry,
and
please,
grounds.
when you are talking about social worker, talk about, hello, please. When you're talking about social worker, talk about me as a social worker. So it's something that you are personalizing. This is what I took home, and this is what I'll begin to do.
Okay. Professional ethics and accountability guides me as a social worker. It can be in the sense that it can be used to assess my conduct as a social worker. For example, it identifies the areas in which I am strong on ethical conduct and grounds. Also, the areas that I might wish to examine, including the reasons for the way I act as a social worker. Then it can also serve as opportunities for further reflection. Code of ethics can be used to assess whether I, as a social worker, have engaged in any unethical conduct. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That was beautiful thoughts from you, and what you begin to do. It's a nice one. Can we give her a round of applause, please? Unmute your mic and clap for her.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, I first saw Oluwole's hands up. Can we have him or her?
Yes, sir. It's her, sir.
Okay, you have the floor, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir. And good morning, my colleagues. As a social worker, I learned that I should not be judgmental. I should be careful in resolving conflict, and I should learn if any cases come to me, I should look at it very well. If there's need for me to call a colleague to help, I can do that. I should not be somebody that will say to myself, I know it all, and I should be of help to my colleague too, who will have to for an assistance from me. I learn interdisciplinary collaboration, drawing professionals from different backgrounds, from rendering services, that is case management. I should be able to manage the case. I should be confidential. I should not share other people's, my client's problem with other people and just be naming or labeling the person. I should be my ethics. The ethics of my professional should be intact. Ability to identify a particular problem, knowing fully know that the client comes to me for help and for solution. That's what I learned. Sir, I am done, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for your response. I believe that what you have said is very, very critical, and that the issue of confidentiality is what we usually hype on, and we usually say that what you say here ends here. And we said that there are also some ethical dilemma concerning the issue of confidentiality. Well, sometimes what you say here might also be revealed in certain circumstances, when certain circumstances are prevailed, or when the issue of life, which is sacrosanct, is involved, or the life of others, the life of the practitioner, the life of service users, or the life of significant others, or neighbors, when they are involved, then the issue of confidentiality is shifted. So thank you very much for also raising that as some of the things you have taken home. But all the same, confidentiality is an ethical standard we must imbibe. Social workers are not known to be flippant. But for the sake of training, sometimes you have students on practicum, they may need to also look at the files. But before that is done, there is training for those students on practical need of training, or for the need of conferencing, but the identity of that client is preserved or shielded, not known. And in the report of the students, the names of such service user must not be mentioned, it remains anonymous. So those are some of the things surrounding the issue of confidentiality. Thank you very much for bringing that up to refresh our minds, or to refresh our thoughts, so that we continue to learn more on the issue of confidentiality.
Good morning, sir.
Please, you have the floor, Glory Crown.
All right, sir. Good morning, sir. And good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah. As a result of my exposure to lectures in this course, something that has affected me within my study.
I don't want to hear that noise. I want this morning.
Is on the values and principles. We were told that human relationships matter, that all the people we see, all those street urchins, beggars, they belong to a family. And so we should, as social workers, we should value human relationships. That actually got to me. And some cases that I came across during the week when my colleagues were like, leave that one. He has family. I was like, no, there's nobody we should leave. If the family isn't doing what they are supposed to do, we should get to find out. Somebody else said, social worker. So I now realize that, yes, I'm beginning to think differently, talk differently as a result of the lectures that I've started receiving. That is one. Then the issue of lifelong learning, that as professionals, our ethical responsibilities as professionals, that for us to remain professionals, we should not run away from working on ourselves. And I want to say this, that it's not even because we were told that after we have been licensed, that we may have to be exposing ourselves to training every 2 years and all those. So I want to say that as individuals, we should not even wait till that time. Any spare moments we have, there's the information super highway. I realize that I've now been going more to browsing these concepts. For the first time in my life, I'm hearing something like micro, meso, and macro levels, because no training, no learning can just make you know everything. So that one got to me, that learning is lifelong and we should continue to learn. I got a lot, but let me just stop there, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Glory. That was a glorious response and take home. Can we just put our hands together for her, unmute, and let's clap for her. Okay, thank you. Our social workers, we are supposed to be experts in social relationship and ensuring that we relate well with others, our neighbors, our colleagues, our service users, and everywhere we find ourselves. We are relationship menders, not relationship breakers. We are expected to do all possible to ensure that people's relationship remains intact and works well. And we have to ensure that in doing our work, we don't jeopardize our own relationships as well. And we have to ensure that some people say that, it's always good for that to be divorce or not to start a relationship than breaking it and when married and all those that. So they say a lot of things, but even at that, social workers are expected to do everything possible to look at every opportunity, every idea, every way possible to ensure that people stay together. It is when every area has been explored that you can now be thinking otherwise. And we are also to ensure that in relationships, two people are dealing with themselves and they are from different backgrounds. No two people are the same. Even when they are twins, they are not the same. Even when we see that they look alike, they wear the same clothes. So in fact, when they talk, you cannot identify who is talking. But innately, you will discover that by the time they start growing up, you will discover that different environment, different friends, different courses of life will make them become different, even though identical. So we are to learn more about the issue of relationship. And like you said, there's no one course that can teach you that. It is as you relate with others, as you handle cases, and as you also give yourself to be taught and mentored by others. No one is perfect in this world, yes, but social workers are seen as those who are perfect. Why? Because they have to come into the life, the good, the bad, the ugly side of people. And we do everything through by virtue of our training, by virtue of our experience, by virtue of those who have mentored us and we have followed them into some of these things that have happened. Sometimes maybe by virtue of our religious background or by the virtue of the family we come from. So all this experience come together, put together, and with the theories that we know or models that we have seen, so we're able to help others in their crisis of relationship. And sometimes, like you said, we need to give ourselves to be taught. Training for a person to become an expert, there's no two ways. It is only one way for you to be trained as an expert, and it is training, retraining, training, retraining, training, retraining. So you must expose yourself to trainings. You must expose yourself to conferences. You must expose yourself to seminars, workshops, whether they are sponsored or it is self-sponsored. Many people, they lose so much. Why? Because they are always looking for those who will sponsor them, the organization to sponsor them. And if the organization have not sponsored them this year to any conference, they say, my organization have not sponsored me to this conference and that workshop and this and that. So I stay like that. You are the one cheating yourself. Bring out money. Part of the salary you receive is consolidated. Part of it should be used for your own personal development. Okay, it's in intermediate professional examination that we talk about the issue of professional development. It's a module in intermediate professional development. Intermediate professional examination. So a module is dedicated to professional development, exhaustive. So we just have to, apart from the fact that he said every 3 years, you will now be upgraded. And of a truth, if you are 3 years in sorry, I'm looking for the word. There's a stage in a stage. If you are 3 years there, you need to move to another stage or level in your professional qualification. And if that in 3 years, you've not been able to meet up with 70-80% of courses, workshop, conferences that you have attended to acquire knowledge, you cannot move from that stage to another stage. That one is dully in the institute. You must be able to pass 70-80%. That is the criteria for you to move. Like when you are inducted, now you are inducted into associate member. The next 3 years, you are going into a full member. And if you are within that 2-3 years, you don't have 70%, 80%, you cannot move because there's assessment for you to write. And all those things will have to come in place. And those who will look at it to assess you will see it in what you are writing and in the interview that you pass through before you can be upgraded. So it is very important, both for you, for your organization, and for social work generally. So relationship, yes. Upgrading, yes. This is inevitable. We must ensure we progress. We are not stagnated. Whether we are sponsored or we are not sponsored, we must make progress. So people have lost positions in their office. Why? Because I had a scenario of 2 people who are filing for a position, a managerial position. They were taken in the same year. and they have been getting promotion virtually every year. I mean, virtually the same time. But now one position was left. I mean, one position came up, and it is either of them that must take that position. Now they put forward their CV, their documents, their certificates, and one was noticed. So I've been doing these online courses. He has been sponsoring himself to go for workshops, seminars. He just came with the dossier of all those certificates. Why one was there? I was not sponsored this year. I was not sponsored last year. It's only 3 years ago that I was sponsored. So you brought what seasonally was being sponsored by the organization. That is what you have sponsored me to do. This is it. Take. Why one was sponsoring himself. So who got the managerial position? That person. So the years he has been spending money to train himself came to play. He got it, and he got fantastic remuneration. So who put himself in that dilemma? That other person. He made the work easy for the committee to pick the other person. Why? Because there was no competition. This other person has gone far, training himself. Aside of seasonal trainings in-house and other workshop attended outside. So we just must do everything possible to ensure a little here, a little there, we train ourselves, and we get wider knowledge. We meet with people, we have network of friends, network of professionals. So we meet ourselves like that when we go out, attend conferences, seminars, workshops outside. And it benefits. So, and it brings more strength to the social worker, more strength to that organization. Because when the organization is passing through some difficulty, that other person will know, oh, this other person somewhere will place a call. Please, I need your service, this and so. You know, our network is very easy. Why? Because he has been able to build relationships from the workshops, trainings, seminars, conferences that he or she have been attending. So those are issues that are very critical in our professional development. Thank you very much, Glory Crown, for raising that.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
You have the floor, please.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. My name is Alali Olamide.
Okay, you're welcome, ma.
Yes, sir. I want to look at the topic from the angle of the 3 legs of professionalism, sir. That is the leadership, studentship, and legislation. I was made to understand that, yes, sir. I was made to understand that as a social worker, I have people above me. Those are my mentors, the professionals who have gone ahead of me that have to learn from them. I also learned in this class that to be a good social worker, I must learn more. That is looking at myself as a student of social work now. I must learn more. I must attend conferences and meetings and seminars. From there, I will learn more. I will learn to know more about this job so that I will not fall into error in my day-to-day practice. I also learned that there are regulations, regulatory body over us as a student or as an active social worker. And in the process of this, I learned that licenses can be revoked if you fall into error. I also learned that regulation can protect you as a social worker. I also learned that it can make me answerable as a social worker. So I learned that in deciding my duty, there are ethics and codes that are guiding me at what I do. Also, I have learned that social work is centered on humanity. It is a profession that serves humanity. It addresses inequalities. It favors both able and disabled in the society. That means not looking at yourself alone. It is all encompassing. You have to look at everybody. And some people, they don't have that power. They don't have that voice. And that is why as a social worker, I must advocate. I must advocate. And before I will be able to do that, I have to really study. Like in our last class, we were taught about VAP law. That is VAP law. That is violence against person. So when you go into that act and you study, you'll be able to know and understand what a person should know. As a person, what you should know, what you should run away from. Also, you will know when your rights is being trampled on. So as a social worker, you need to study more, not confining yourself in what is taught alone in the class, but to go and research and browse to know more about what guides our profession. I also learned that a social worker, as a social worker, I am an agent of change. For instance, let's use the situation in the country now as an example. This fuel hike that is everywhere. As a social worker, I am not to join in the protest because I am an agent of change. I should be able to see this issue as a social worker to appeal to every relevant quarters through my advocacy. I will study the law, or let me say, I will study the policy and be able to make a shift. Okay, this one is not well said, or this one needs to be changed, or this one needed to be added up onto. So all these things as a social worker, I have to really understand. Yes, there is fuel hike. What is the policy that is guiding it? What are they driving at? What do they want to gain from all this? How is the society suffering? So as a social worker, I must be in the midst of all this, talking to the government and appealing to the people. So as a social worker, I am seen as somebody that will mend the bridge. I am a bridge mender. I'll be able to mend the bridge. This is what I have studied. This is what is happening. This is the advantage, and this one must be removed from it. So the professional ethics and accountability has guided me as a social worker, has changed my thoughts towards some things. So when people are talking, I don't talk the way people talk these days. What will I do? I will search and look at it holistically, understand what is happening there. When I know all these things, I will be able to talk professionally. And until I join this class, I am not really, let me say, I don't really think in that aspect. But now, I don't talk as everybody talk. I talk as a social worker now. I reason as a social worker. I see issues as a social worker. Then also, I learned that even professionalism as one of the principles of social work, I also understand that confidentiality can be challenged in such a way that if my client is talking to me and wants to make me to keep a secret that is not ethical or that could take his life or that is detrimental, as a social worker, I must find a way around it. The ethical dilemma. I must know the professional to talk to. I must seek advice from my mentors who will further help me out on how to carry out this issue. I learned that too. So I also learned that the language barrier, looking at cultural differences, that if I have a client that is not of my tribe, I must not say because that person is not from my tribe, and treat that
Okay,
person.
Olamide, can you please pause now? You really are loaded. Thank
Hello.
you very much. Can we please unmute and give her a round of applause?
Hello, sir.
Yes, so
Sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I'm hearing. Okay, let's
Good morning,
let's
sir.
hear Ronald.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, please. You have the floor.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Ronald.
Yes,
Sir,
please go ahead, sir.
actually, since the inception of this class, it has changed my mindset in a professional way. One of the things I cherish most is that social work is a scientific discipline that gives answers, solutions to the societal problems. A social worker is meant to understand that his work is a professional work that has rules and regulations.
Please, sir, refer to yourself, not others. Refer to yourself. That's
That
the rule for this session. Thank you,
that
sir.
that I, a social worker, that we have rules
Great.
and regulations towards achieving the set goals. At the same time, those code of conduct streamlines us as a social worker, how to manage issues, individual issues, family issues, community issues, societal issues, in a way that it will not harm we, the social worker, and our clients. It has made me to understand that as a social worker that I need to be updating myself without waiting anybody, by making researches, having time to attend seminars and workshops, interact with other people, including clients, allowing our clients to flow whenever we have such, will give us the advantage over our client that look up to us as a social worker to solve his or her problem for her or him. And secondly, that we should be mindful the way we do things. If we do things outside professional, it is going to affect us. There are punishment for any of us that do not uphold those ethics, those values that we are being required of as a social worker. In all of this, I just want to summarize that we, the social workers, are being seen as a problem solver in the society. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you so much,
Good morning,
Mr.
sir.
Roland, for that beautiful citation of the fact that we as social workers are to ensure we do everything orderly and ensure that we give our service users the voice, because the service users are the experts. We are only helping them as experts to look at diverse ways in which their challenges can be ameliorated. Thank you for that, sir.
Thank
Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good
My name
morning.
is Odejinta Nora Osinachi.
Okay, please, you have the floor. After you, Gladys.
All right. My ethical responsibility as a social worker is that I have learned how to value diverse cultural differences of my fellow colleague, which is very, very important, because most times we don't value their cultural differences. We forget that they came from different cultural backgrounds. So we should allow them to demonstrate their expertise and respectively. And also, as a social worker, I have realized that I cannot do it alone. There is no need of, oh, you have been in this particular department for a long time. I know the rules and regulations that guide this particular department. No, it doesn't work that way. We should try as much. I should try as much as possible to incorporate other professionals by collaborating with them from other different disciplines. In case of intervention, if I find out that my intervention is not making any difference, I can refer, which is not a form of weakness for me, but rather a way of demonstrating my competency. And lastly, I have also learned how to avoid allowing my business to encroach my profession, because now in Nigeria, we know what is happening. The salary is not enough to fend for our needs. So we need survival. We need a way of surviving, other sides of income, other streams of income. So as a social worker, we should allow our professional responsibility to be the primary aim. We should not make it to be the secondary because of what we are pursuing, because of the economy. No, we should make it a primary aim. And another important thing is time management. You should know when and how to manage things, how to run your time. Your time management is very, very important. Your punctuality in the office and everything. So I've learned all those things as a social worker. Thank you.
Wow. That was great learning from you, and you've been able to at least hit 3 vital areas of this module. Culture is very, very important. The cultural setting in which social workers practice is very, very fundamental. We all come from different tribes, different culture, different traditions, and you as a social worker coming from a tribe or a culture, going into a tribe, another culture to practice, you must be able to be what we know as cultural dynamism. You must be able to have cultural sensitivity. You must also be able to have what we call cultural competencies. So cultural competence is very important because you have to unlearn what you already knew to learn a new culture in which you are practicing. Somebody
is your fault, sir. And I know your fault.
Somebody is interfering.
Yeah, disturbing the class.
Let's talk about aura. Let's talk about aura. Aura.
What was this guy's best ever season?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So you must be able to have what we call cultural competencies. Why? Because you have to unlearn what you know. To learn, I don't mean that you jettison it completely, what your cultures are, but unlearning and learning. And that is the rules of education. You unlearn, you learn new things. So you learn the culture of the people in which you are practicing. And you must be able to, some way, also adapt some. And you must not be so shocked to the extent that what you are seeing in their tribe, ethnic group, culture become an impediment to your serving them within their culture and within their ethnic groups or tribe. And you must be able, as social worker, to relate when even 2 cultures are in conflicts. Because even within a community, you may have different cultures. You may have people, as an example is those IDPs who are now in IDP camp or in IDP communities that are coming in with their own culture and with their own way of doing things into our already established or the home culture. So you must be able to detach and be able to bring the two together and be able to work with the two. And the two must also see themselves as brothers and sisters and be able to work together. So you must be very dynamic and proactive in the way you intervene amidst multicultural setting. You must be able to know how to relate with two people who are having similar problems but different culture. So it's very important, the point you have raised along that, and time is also of excess. Social workers are known to be those who keep relationship and time. Time is always of the essence. We don't waste the time of our service users. If an appointment is given to a service user for 10 o'clock, social worker will not get there at 10, but must be there to welcome the service user into his or her office by 9:30, 9:45. Must be able to prepare the office or prepare what the service user will need. Preliminaries must be put in place so that as the service user is coming, you are welcoming, or you give an appointment for a community to be there at 10, and you as social worker is coming in by 11, while the community heads and community stakeholders are waiting for you. No, service users, whether as individual, as group, as community, as family, they don't wait for social workers. Rather, social workers wait for the service users, whether as individual, group, or community. So it's very important, the management of our time. Or when we're having some focus group discussion, we must be able to also manage time and manage relationship and manage culture within that focus group discussion or in a town hall meeting. We must be able to be sensitive enough to accommodate all, while none is bossing the other. So, and while we don't put our own culture or our own ideas on the table for them to take. So it's very, very critical. Thank you so much for that insight. Okay, I said Gladys busy.
Good morning, sir.
After Gladys, we take Olushola Olajide.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, ma. You have the floor.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm going to be talking on ethical responsibility to professional practice. I want to talk about professional boundaries because I have learned so much during the course, and why I really want to talk about professional boundaries is I was actually posted to a psychiatric unit during my internship when I was doing a diploma in social works. And I noticed I was attached to a young girl of 18, and I noticed that I became so close to him just because I really wanted to get to know everything about him and be able to give a very good result. So I became very close, and the client was now thinking that he could have something with me. So I really want to talk on that professional boundaries. That's establishing and maintaining clear boundaries when you are attached to a client. Okay, and another thing I also want to talk about is self-care. That's prioritizing physical and emotional and mental well-being. As in, what I learned was that you really have to take care of yourself, because sometimes we bring our emotions, we bring those things that are disturbing us into our work, which is not right. And I've actually learned a lot in this course not to do that, because sometimes you might have work to do and you're coming from home where the children might have annoyed you, your husband and all of that, and you now bring it to the client and all of that. I've learned that also is not good. Then another thing that caught me is continue education. It really caught me so much. Why? Because it's now I'm knowing that I have really left a lot in my practice, and without continuing education, without going into research and going into the field, both physically and educating yourself in and out, you'll be really out of being a social worker. So I have learned those 3 things. They really caught me. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Gladys. Boundary is very important in social work. And especially those of us who have expected to meet with service users on a frequent basis. The first thing a social worker does when a case is assigned to you or when you get into a session is building rapport with your service user. You build rapport. When you are finished building your rapport, and of course, you must have taken the assessment during clerking. So you build rapport. The next thing after rapport is to set your boundary with your service user. This we would not like to hear. We would not like you to call this person this way. We would not like you to do this. I, as a social worker, I will not step my bound in this way, in this way, in this way. You must be able to spell it out to service user so that foul languages are not used, abusive and cursing words are not used, so that even when significant others are invited or when families are invited for a session, there's no cross-firing of words and things like that. So boundaries must be set. And boundaries that concerns also a male client, a female social worker must also be set. And a social worker must know who he or she is, and must know that there are certain areas that must not be crossed. And there are certain passes that must be recognized and must be nipped in the bud. And when it is not able to be nipped in the bud, it is an avenue for such social worker to do what? Step or back out of that professional engagement through the help of his leader or supervisor. Because sometimes we are humans. And thank you for what you raised, the issue of the passes that was being thrown at you and the way you were able to handle it must be able to be true. That's why when we started this course, we said it is about the truth and nothing but the truth. I must be able to recognize the truth. I must be able to say the truth to myself as a social worker. I must be able to say the truth to the service user as my client. So when you don't own up to what the truth is or own up to your conscience as a service user, that's where the fall begins. And we have had cases of service users eventually marrying a social worker. So that person has social work, the social worker. So, and we have seen where social workers have taken a job from the service user. The husband just left the property and he has seen the way and meticulously how the social workers have been able to handle and how the social workers to now be able to help her handle the estate that the husband left for her. And the social workers took that job. Is he an estate or so ethics surveyor or valuer, a social worker is supposed to do what? Link that service user to a service or to lawyers who will handle that case, or to real estate and valuers who will handle that case for her. But he took it. Money is there. You'll be taking percentages to augment our own salary. This is his own salary. And from there, another thing also entered. So you see why you must guard your boundary, and why you must also help the service users also to guard his or our own boundary by linking to. That's how we said social workers don't work in isolation. A case must not start with you and end with you. There must always be people with other professionals in between the line that you must link your service users to relieve yourself of this crossing of boundaries and contravening the ethics of your profession. So you must be very careful. You must know these things left and right to ensure that you are practicing within the ambit of your own professional ethics. So thank you very much. We don't have much time now. This is 10:04. We'll just take one or two more people. And I have to take people at random. So people have not been talking in this class. They've not been raising hand, neither have they been talking. So I'll pick two.
You already said talking after the last speaker. Olushola Olajide is the one talking, sir.
Okay, just go ahead. After Olushola Olajide, we'll take...
Sir Naomi is here.
Don't worry, you have been raising your hand and you have been talking. I want to look for those who are not even talking. Let me look at them. And Mekpe, you have not been talking, so after her, you will talk. And after Mekpe, Lami Sunday will talk and we'll end the class. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. I'll do a quick one. I have learned a lot of things, but I would like to dwell on 4 things in particular. The law, confidentiality, technology, and taking care of myself. So I will start with accountability to the law. I have learned that I must always operate within the law. I must adhere to legislations and regulations that are specific to my jurisdiction, like child protection laws, like mental health acts, like anti-discrimination, different types of laws that we have. I am obligated. I must not go outside the spheres of the law. I have also learned that I am to know the legal parameters of my profession, particularly as those laws relate to confidentiality and me reporting the things that happened on the field. That's my brief talk on law. I must not go outside the spheres of law, although there are times when it seems like the law is kind of conflicting with the social work that I'm practicing. Those kind of cases, I am meant to ask my superiors, those that have been in this field before me, those that have knowledge before me, how I'm to balance that kind of a situation. Also on confidentiality that I said I'll talk about, I've learned so much on confidentiality that in as much as I'm trying to take care of my clients' information, I'm trying to make it confidential, I have learned about a principle called least harm. I have learned that when a client poses threats to themselves or to other people, I, as a social worker, I am faced with, an ethical dilemma. I am faced with maybe knowing how to maintain confidentiality, and at the same time, I'm trying to carry out the duty of care. In that situation, I have learned from this class that I must bring up the principle of least harm. The principle of least harm, when I learned about it further, talks about me as a social worker taking an action that will cause the least harm to all the parties involved. I would have liked to cite a case like that, but because of time,
let me leave that. On technology and documentation, I have also learned something. I have learned that for everything I do, I must document. And then a case came up in this class where somebody asked the question that what if his superior does not want to sign off on a particular documentation. I learned that I can use technology. By technology, that means I could send a mail, I could blind copy other people, and then when a situation arises, maybe that my superior wants to deny it, the mail could then be sent it could be copied to every other person. So long as it is going to be dated, of course, that could save me from any form of harm. I could send mails. I could even take screenshots. If it's a company that they don't use mail that much, I could use my WhatsApp. I could take pictures. I could send the WhatsApp. I could send a WhatsApp message just to make sure that I document whatever thing I'm doing part-time to be able to save myself issues in future. And above all, I have learned self-care. I have learned about self-care. Yes, I've learned about people harming themselves. I'm trying to work. I'm trying to do my work as a social worker. I'm trying to take care of people. I should also take care of myself, because it is when I take care of myself, I am mentally sound, not allowing things that maybe happen in the home. Apart from things that happen in the home, I should take out time to take care of myself. So I went and I learned more about that self-care. And I saw that there's actually something that could be a 30-day plan. For each day, I could have a post note, posting it against my wall that today I'm going to be intentional in doing this. Today, I'm not going to allow this to get at me. That's I have a lot to say, but because of other people who will have to talk, I would just like to stop here briefly. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for that beautiful output from what I've been learned. We are indeed grateful. Okay, the next person.
Good morning.
Can you please come up here? You have the floor, please.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
My name is Chineye Chukuma. So I've learned a lot, but I want to talk about as a professional.
Sorry, I said Emekpe should talk.
Okay, sorry
about
sir.
that. Please, sorry. I want those who have not been talking in this class to talk. They should make their own contribution as well. But you can finish your thought while she's gathering herself.
Okay, sir. So
Thank
I want
you.
to talk as a professional, I've learned that I'm not supposed to judge. I have to be use the ethics of being non-judgmental. Yeah, I don't have to judge anybody for his or her action, because there must be a reason behind the person's action. But what I have to do is to guide the person and to advise the person on the right thing to do. Then in the aspect of, there's another thing I learned, that everybody has worth. Every human being has worth. It's not because I'm a social worker, I'll be looking down at another person, or because this person has a problem, I'll feel that I am more superior than the person. My job is to make the person to know that he or she has a worth. Like nobody is worthless. No matter the situation you find yourself, the person should not condemn himself. That is what I learned. Like some people that would I've learned that I don't have to look down on anybody or give a negative advice to anybody, or because of the situation a person found himself. I also learned that we should show empathy, not sympathy, because before now, like if somebody brings up his or her problem, I would trying to help in my own way. But as a social worker, I learned that I'm supposed to show empathy, not sympathy, like by linking the person to the system where the person can get help, not me rendering that help by myself. Another thing I learned is that I have to be.
Okay. Chineye, you are loaded. Thank you so much. You've really gotten this much. It's very important. Self-worth is very important. Self-care, very, very crucial. Because the social worker must also social work him or herself and must also be available for others to help him or her. That is very, very fundamental as we confront our daily interventions of service users. We are indeed grateful for bringing this out. Okay. If Emekpa is ready, you have the floor, or if Lami is ready, you have the floor. Either of you, one come first. It's like they just left their mic.
Good morning,
And,
sir.
oh, okay, Lami. Good morning.
Morning, sir. Morning, house. My name is Lami. So far, I've been able to add more knowledge through this course, like ethical responsibilities. I've been able to learn about the various aspects of ethical responsibility that I have towards my client, towards my colleagues around me while carrying out my duty as a social worker. So ethical responsibility to my colleague. So I learned that I have that responsibility of collaborating with my colleagues in the area of carrying out our duties as social workers. So in doing that, I can collaborate with them. I can as well refer clients to my colleagues in areas which I think I am unable to move ahead, because in this course I have learned that no one knows it all. Sometimes where your knowledge stop, of course your fellow social worker or your colleague can pick it up from there. So by so doing, it even shows that of course you know the work, or you know your responsibilities as a social worker. Because if you want to carry all the load on your head, feeling is something you can do, you might do it the wrong way. Meanwhile, there is someone out there who is more capable in that area. So by the time you do it, it shows that you are an expert. You are an expert, and then you show your level of understanding, and then your knowledge is wide because you are being able to help your client and then helping your colleague as well. So in helping your colleague, the ethical responsibility as well I have for my colleague also involves maybe dispute, maybe settling dispute. Of course, where you have one or two people around you, there are bound to be dispute. So in carrying that out, I can as well step in, maybe where my colleague have dispute and issues around. I can help in render a help, trying to bring solutions, resolutions, and all that where there are issues. So as well, ethical responsibility I have to my client is also to make sure that I come into their aid. I come in to bring an end to their issue, intervenes in areas where they have issues, bearing in mind confidentiality of their issues or the cases which they might have come with, in order to bring an end to their issues or whatever problem that they may have. So you have to keep in mind, I have to keep in mind that confidentiality and privacy. Hello, and privacy of their issues. So, and then I am also taught about avoiding sexual relationship with my clients as a social worker, my client, as it may cause barriers to my work and my practice as a whole.
Okay, thank you so much, Lami, for that wonderful rendition of what you have gotten so far. It's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. Thank you, each and every one of us. I must apologize to our
Good morning, sir.
IT. We have shot
Good morning,
beyond
sir.
our
Just 1
time.
minute. Good morning, sir. Let me air myself. Just 1 minute. It's my
Who is
first
that,
class
please?
pastor. This is Doris Anamnese. Doris Anamnese.
Wow. Okay, in 1 minute, please.
Yes, in 1 minute of his life. Actually, I wanted to talk on the cultural diversity, but I saw one of my colleagues did that. But then I can pick on the religion. Religion, actually, we have diverse religion within the country and outside. As a social worker, I have learned that I have to understand my religion and compare with other religions to tolerate them so that I'll be able to work well. I would have talked more details on it, but we can actually stop here. Thank you so much for Amy. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you so much, Doris, for that injection of the religious aspect of ethics. So, like I was saying, I'd like to apologize to our IT. We have gone beyond our time allocated. Sorry so much. Just that we need to do this recap before we finally end the class in the next 1 or 2 weeks. And while next week, social worker Mbina will continue from where he has stopped. It has been a wonderful time interacting with each one of us, and I'm surprised at the level of intake that has taken place within each one and among us in this diet. Thank you so much. Let's keep it flying. Let's keep learning. Let's keep networking. Let's keep working together, and let's keep flying the flag of social work in Nigeria, in Africa, all over the world. On this note, I want to call it a wrap for the next class to begin. Thank you, and do enjoy the remaining part of your weekend. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.